Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. We are here. To my right, left is our always guest but family member Ephraim Terrell, and right below us is Pastor Brian McCory. All my podcast listeners, thank you for rocking and hanging with us as always. Um, and if you're watching on replay, make sure you share. Sharing is caring, and tag someone that can be part of this conversation. All right, so hang tight, hold on. We're gonna kick the show off because we got quite a bit to discuss, and you know how we like to dig into things. All right, take it. I didn't want to catch that.
Morning,
Good morning.
good morning, good morning.
Welcome to another episode.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, everybody?
Turn that down. All right. Let's see. Boom. Copy each. Always, I get everything else right. I just always forget to put the subject up. All right. Bam. 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 All right. Today we're talking about, can you separate policy from the politician slash party? Can you separate policy from the politician slash party? So in terms of kind of direction we're going, and it should be pretty clear. Just, can you look past the personalities of a politician or some of the agendas of a party if they have policies that you strongly agree with? You know.
Morning, Mom. Sorry.
Oh no, you good. I didn't comment.
Gotta speak to Mama.
Good morning, Mama. Right. Gotta speak to Mama.
Gotta speak to your mama. Right there.
Like no matter what comes, whenever she comes in, talk like, hey, Mom.
Mama be like,
Like I
"Mom,
was saying.
did we sleep together last night? Good morning.
That's good home training.
Right. Yeah, that's the classic line right there. Right. Oh man. So can you look past, their character, who they are, and like I said, with the party, their agendas and things like that. And if they have, and like I think I mentioned yesterday, let's just say reparations was one of the things that you want to get past, and they are totally for it, but who they are kind of sucks. What's up, Lisa?
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning.
You know, like for me, the struggle with it is this. At some point, and we talk, there's many different races and votes, even in the church. I mean, this is a broad thing, but at some point you're going to run across two candidates that you're going to disagree with on something, right? Like the president is the biggest example. The president of the United States is the biggest example because we have, I don't know, 300 plus million people in America, and we trying to vote for one person that's supposed to represent we the people, the Democratic Republic. Like it's just like, it's going to be tough because I'm going to disagree with him on at least 10 issues.
Right.
But early on, my question is, what's the alternative? Not vote. So what I'm saying is, it's very hard to separate the person from the politics. And I think I'm telling you, I think our current president is an extreme case that you just break party rank, that you just look at the person. Because I think he takes it outside of politics. So you have to live outside of politics when you're making your decision. And once again, there's many Americans, at least 74 million of them voted for Trump, right? So somebody don't like Biden, but I still have to say, and Pastor touched on this so many times about the power that comes with elections, and that's how we really bring about change. So I want to say, you just stick to it. If you don't like the person, you don't like how they breathe, walk, talk, or leave it. But at some point, that's going to be challenged, because what's the alternative? Not to vote, not to let your voice be heard, not to pick the closest to your interests. So I would love to separate it, but I think at some point we're gonna be called to the carpet on it eventually. Now you can get away with it maybe locally. I mean, 1,000 people run for mayor. You you got city council. I mean, like you can really. I hate to say vote your conscience, man. You can really take a deep look at the person. But there's sometimes in some elections at some point that it's gonna get down to two people, and you might not like either one. And there's a case where it's the lesser of two evils, because I don't want to speak for everybody, but Joe wasn't the best candidate that we ever had.
Right.
Maybe Joe wasn't the best. I think I'm really looking forward to what he's going to do. I'm just saying him just on his campaign.
Right.
I don't mean take up that much time. I'm just saying.
No, you good. That makes sense. That makes sense. What about you, Pastor? How do you kind of feel or approach it to that manner?
Well, you've heard me say it, and good morning, everyone. Appreciate you all coming out. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Brother E, you said, I do agree with voting your conscience. I really do. It's, and I said this yesterday, one of the reasons why I often hesitate to affiliate myself with a political party is because of voting my conscience.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't vote party, I vote policy. And sometimes the way that I vote is on the liberal side, sometimes it's on the conservative side, depending on what it is.
Right.
But I also agree with you that at some point you have to make a choice. You can't vote for the wrong person because they have one policy that you agree with. You have to look at it, holistically. Right. So I definitely understand the struggle. My answer directly would be, it's possible to separate policy from the politician or the party, because it's clear that that's exactly what happened with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Who said, I'm not looking to the White House for my measurement of morality.
Right.
I'm looking to the White House to push my agenda.
Right.
And so what those people did, and I would say that out of 75 million people, you probably have 50 million that voted like that, that they ignored the behavior. But it reminds me of Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey wrote the book, the 7 Habits, right? And in one of his books was Living the 7 Habits. And in Living the 7 Habits, he talks about, the definition of proactive. And the challenge with, or the lack in the characteristics or the virtues of Donald Trump's leadership is, when you consider what Stephen Covey said, he said part of being proactive is not just getting ahead of the game, anticipating things. It's about being responsible and accountable for your decisions, right? And the impact of your decisions. You have to consider the present, what came before you, and what's to come, the outcome of a thing. And the challenge, the reason why Trump has had such a hard time is that he gives no consideration to those factors at all. He's only concerned about him winning and losing. Right. And in this particular case, there's no way that I can separate the policy from the politician, because actions speak louder than words.
Right. I hate it.
There's an old adage, right? I think one of the worst things you could say to your child as a parent is, do as I say and not as I do.
Right. Like how?
Right. Okay. So with that being said, right. So, I mean, I think some went for Trump, because of that policy, and like what we've discussed before, Pastor, you vote if you want your taxes to be a certain way, you vote a certain way, but I also know that just like the whole Joe Biden and Trump thing, we went for Joe because it's like this Trump thing just don't seem like it's working out. Just like some looked at, got to give Trump props. He always come up with a name with Crooked Hillary. He pushed that narrative so hard. It's like, I'd rather give the immoral dude a shot than Crooked Hillary, who,
lock her up.
That or the emails and all the, he had cast such a shadow of doubt So sometimes you gotta, and I always take a step back. I always give props to campaigns like, yo, y'all did a marvelous job at shifting and making it just so questionable that you just like I was sure I wanted her, but you talk so much that I'm questioning this vote now. So I always listen. Shout out to the campaign managers and runners that shape a narrative in order to get that message.
I always thought it was crazy because they didn't have to. I'm like, nobody falling for that. You look at some of these commercials. Yes. But if you think about it, you don't have to get everybody, man.
No.
What did Trump lose Georgia by? 10,000, 11,000 votes? He was looking for. So these small shifts, that's why the people the whole mindset, oh, my vote don't count. No. This man didn't lose the state by that much. Right. So if they could just get 12,000 people to, say lock her up, then maybe I can, what I mean? So it's, I think, even including me, nobody took Trump serious from the start. They thought he was a big joke. He came in, and then when they said, okay, he's going to win, they enabled him big time, and he did exactly what we saw he would do. Now, I was surprised, not to shift it, that the violence happened to take place with the Capitol, or white on white crime, if you will. But this is what, especially if you go back and look at all the Brother Legacy, everybody's been kind of building up to that. I don't want to use the word scared, but this is the stuff we kind of thought would happen. This is what happened when you talk like that. My wife watches a show, and they got this big one of those reality shows, and there's a big controversy with one of the fights that happened or whatever. And it keeps amazing me that the girl is now in shock because somebody actually fought her. And it just baffles me that you can talk like that and think. You could talk like that and think that nobody, because what happened? They got caught up in the reality show. They got caught up in this is what we do every season. And you thought that you could talk to somebody else and they wouldn't put their hands on you. And when they did, she was in shock. Right. And as shocking as the Capitol attack was, just to see how it played out, him hyping them up, him encouraging them, his talk, his rhetoric, that's not surprising at all. He's been doing it since he came down that elevator. Right. So I just the
escalator ride, the escalator ride, right?
Yeah, man.
Oh,
what up,
real quick?
Let
me see. What's up, Dwayne? Hold on before you start. Lisa in the building. Good morning. I didn't get my good morning shout outs. Put the comments up. Mimosa, thank you for rocking with us. Cole in the building. Great morning to you.
Cold world.
In the building. Great morning to you. Sam said, "Oh, my faves today. Good morning, Pastor Ephraim." Really?
What's up, Sam?
Let's see, right? Like the Twisted Tea guy. Yeah. Let's see. That's what made Trump electable to his fan base. I do mean fan base. He can be charismatic. Yes, right. Crooked Hillary, Lion Ted, Sleepy Joe. Yes. He called
I'm big mad at Ted. I don't know what to say to him.
Right. He be throwing some zingers.
Right.
Dwayne tried to tell me about Ted Cruz, but I see it now, B.
Look,
you've been told me, bro.
I could never look at that man the same. Just off principle.
Right.
I tried to do it the Bible way, man. I tried to give him another chance, man. But man. Yeah.
What was it that did it for you?
For me? Yeah. When 45 talked about his wife.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, it was like everything else was like political. Yeah, y'all playing y'all games. Hold on, you said what about my who?
Right.
But that's just like AD saying on the day. It's a point where we're not talking about policy no more.
Right.
What's going on, man?
What's going on
at some point, we're not talking policy, man. You legit stepped out of policy. You legit stepped out the Constitution and went for my wife. And then you ain't stopped there. You start talking about my daddy, man.
Right.
It's just like
that was the starting point.
To sign off and say, yeah, let's fight this crooked election. It's crazy, man.
No, not then. But he actually does. He actually backs him after all of this.
Right. He backs him like it's fresh. Like he ain't said nothing. He ain't did nothing. It's.
Yeah, but
I may be wrong, Pastor. I may be wrong. But I got suspended from school in the 5th grade because one of my classmates, who we actually cool now, he said, "Your mama fat." I don't care what my mama said about that boy don't know me. He don't pay no bills here. I ain't care about none of that. You said, what about my mama?
Right.
Set you off automatic.
What you want to say, Pat? Hey, Jay is in the building. Great
What's
morning.
going on, y'all?
What do you want to share real quick, Pastor? You said you about to say something.
No, I'm good. I was just saying, I was going to be funny, but I think, well, okay, let me say it.
Say it.
To Ted Cruz, I think that Ted Cruz honestly was thinking ahead.
Okay.
When he fell in line.
Okay. With
Donald Trump. Oftentimes, to Dwayne's point, the reason why your mother said that to you, which is why my mother said it to me, is you have to go into a thing considering the outcome.
Right.
Yeah. Right. The most effective business decisions or productive business decisions are you go in with the end result in mind. And I believe that Ted Cruz took a pause and said, I'll let her be ugly today.
Right.
So that I can remain in office tomorrow because of the level of influence that Donald Trump had. People often say, man, he must have some pictures of you or something. He has to have something on you for you to let him get away with that stuff. How is that even possible?
Right.
And I think that's what happened with Donald Trump. We have to remember that Donald Trump, amongst many other things, he is an absolute deal maker. Right. He is the person that takes you back remember Steve Harvey's face going in and his face coming out?
Yeah. I will forever remember that face.
Right.
Like, what did I do walking?
Right.
Right.
I wasn't ready.
So I got a question for y'all. Since you made that comment. Do you think that good old politics has become similar to the rumors we hear about Hollywood? If you really want to do this, then hey, I need you to come over here and take some of these pictures and watch this movie with this dude over here in the mansion. You think politics is taking that turn?
Man, that's a good question. I think there are a couple different levels though, because the politicians are all different, right?
Right.
So I think there are some people who go into politics for the right reason, or at least the quote unquote right reason from their perspective, and they have a platform or an agenda. But what you realize really quickly, and I didn't appreciate this until I started working with politicians. What you realize really quickly is oftentimes, particularly if you represent a marginalized community, you aren't going to be able to just steamroll your plans through, all these people saying no. You have to build coalition. And unfortunately, in order to get something, you have to give something, right? Yeah. So I think it's about what are your principles? What are you willing to give? And what we're saying with Ted Cruz, you have to remember his come up was the Tea Party. And the Tea Party, when it was relevant and when it was hot, he was the man. He was, but when Trump came, the Tea Party went away. It's Trump now. And he was like, look, I got to get on the winning team if I'm going to do this. And Trump was like, oh, I'm going to make you earn it. I'm going to talk about your wife. I'm going to talk about your mom.
Right? You jump on. What's the conversation like at the house? What Miss Cruz say about that? I know you're trying to keep these lights on, but
he was. This is the conversation at the house, right? The conversation is, I'm trying to be president in 2024, and these racist people love Trump, so I'm gonna be with Trump. And when I become president, you get to be first lady. Is that cool?
And then you'll be pretty then,
right? And see, this is the thing. You also got to remember too, like politicians are the result of whatever their environment is. So you can imagine Ted Cruz ain't kicking it with black people. Like Ted Cruz isn't expecting black people for anything. His people, his base are the people who like to act like they care about conservative family values and evangelicals. He don't believe in none of that. But that's his base. So he has to cater to the base in order to get them to do stuff. And I think the thing that I do like about politics is people are typically really good about seeing through fakeness. So he's doing all this, selling out and brown nosing to appease Trump. But I think the people who diehard support Trump aren't going to turn around in 2024 and go to a Ted Cruz. The same thing that's making him is the same thing that's going to break him, because all it takes is for Donald Trump once he gets his Twitter privileges back. Right. All it takes for him to be like, oh yeah, Ted Cruz, his wife's still ugly and I don't care about it. And that's it. It's all
right. Yeah.
But I think even Ted Cruz knows that now. That's why he was willing to settle. That's why he allowed his wife to be ugly for a season, because he knew at that point, one of two things can happen. Either I go all in against this guy, or I humble myself so that I can survive later.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So she got to be ugly for 8 years for a chance. For a chance to be president. Yeah.
No.
Who that? Is that her?
That's her.
Oh, she not no ugly lady, man. Why you can't?
No, but see, that's the thing, right? It's not about her actually being ugly.
Right.
It's about Trump throwing the dart, throwing the stone.
Right.
That's what it's about. It has nothing to do with who she is. It's got everything to do with who Trump is.
Okay, why
they get you? Because listen, I love what you just said. You said, "Is that her?"
Right.
That's the point. You have lived for the last 4 years thinking she was a mud duck. Took his word, and you never even went to find out.
Yeah,
that's the power.
Right.
Like so why don't they mount up? Why did the option never come up? Let's just kick him out the party. Let him have his base. And let us keep the conservative, the GOP people, and just say we done with Trump.
It was too late.
They didn't see him coming.
Yeah. Look, that's like you selling Big Meech when he was selling dope. That's like you selling Big Meech 50 keys to get started, and then he becomes your only client now.
Right. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because like even during the debates, they had said when they were all on stage, it was like, if you win the nomination, do you promise to roll with the Republicans? This was all directed at him, but they had to make it a broad conversation. Like, everybody on the stage, if you become the nominee, will you run with the Republican, party? Like they literally had to make him declare that, because he wasn't at the time. He was, but he wasn't, so they made him declare it in public that he would be,
So let me tell you kind of how this thing breaks down, right? So typically when somebody is trying to run for office, they have to win their party's ticket unless you're independently wealthy, right? Just so happens that Donald Trump was born into wealth. Like he's already wealthy. So he don't need your money, right? And the whole thing about it is Donald Trump is the master of PR. Right. So, they knew that if he says, "Oh, I'm not running Republican," it's not that he gonna have to do something to get back in good graces. Is that they're gonna lose their base to him, right? So you saw at the Republican National Convention when they were initially doing their debates, no Republican like Donald Trump. He was calling Carly Fiorina all kinds of ugly. Him and Chris Christie was going at it. Nobody liked Trump.
Back then, they said he had no chance of winning, right?
No chance of winning, right? And what Trump did was he invested in his branding and his PR. And he was like, I'm gonna come to your meeting. I'm gonna say what I want to say about all of y'all. I'm not gonna have not one policy ready for anything, and we're just gonna see how far this goes. And the problem is, usually a political party controls you with that purse, the coffer. If you need our money, you're gonna do what we say, right? But when they can't control you with the money, then the issue is, well, do you still get 24-hour news coverage? Well, Trump got 24-hour news coverage, right? So what can you do? At that point, they were like, look, it's better for us to try to see if we can forge a path with him and merge with him as opposed to going against him. And I think that's the undoing of the Republican Party altogether. Somebody came along that was too big for you to bully. So at this point, he does what he wants. And now what they're doing, even now, this man has openly declared an insurrection on the United States government, and people still like,
every Republican that I've seen on CNN or show, they keep asking them at the end, will you still vote for him? Like, well, I've been a lifetime Republican. I think I'm still the Secretary of State still says he's gonna vote for Trump. Like, I just don't get the loyalty. They didn't say, would you vote Republican again? They said, would you vote for Trump? And they were like, yeah.
But I think and we talked about this a little bit. You have to realize it's not a vote for what we gain. It's a vote for what we fear losing. Does that make sense? They don't feel like they can gain anything with Donald Trump. But if they don't stick with him, there's something that they will lose. And what they lose is leverage.
Right.
Give them leverage. You can't ignore 75 million people.
Right. Right.
And there's no guarantee that Trump goes away and never shows up again.
Right.
If we can get him on these charges, he can't run again with some charge. So I guess maybe that's why they push it. But how about the Republicans just say, let's just start over scratch, man. Let's go independent. Forget those 74 million people. Let's take our 30 million and just try something else. Okay. Like
uncharted
he cannot be there. Trump was uncharted. He cannot be the only option.
But Trump is an anomaly, not the he's not the norm. He's an anomaly, not the norm. So they can't bank on that. But to your point, Terrell, something you said earlier, it's not the fact that CNN still saying or reporting the support for Trump. My problem is TBN and their support for Trump. That's my problem. But hey,
I still didn't get that from the get-go. I didn't know I was gonna lose Jensen Franklin. I like Jensen Franklin. I didn't know we was gonna fall out. Paula White was accepted by black women everywhere getting French manicures, and now she's through.
Kenneth Copeland was my boy.
Yeah, man.
See, and I think you know,
some really good white people in this world,
the problem is with, and like you're saying, the Republican trying to separate themselves from Trump is the fact that the louder mouths are following Trump. Yeah, you know, the ones that the Rush Limbaugh, the Sean Hannity, you know, these dudes are pro-Trump so much so that, you know, if the Republicans break off, they might get some million, but they lose the loudmouths, and then they got the loudmouths talking against them as well. They're gonna dedicate their show half an hour to the Democrats, and then the other half is to the Republican attacking them. You know, so they can't really afford to just break, because Trump has the loudmouths. You know, he has the media, especially he lost all the Twitter and all that. So now he's a commodity. He's a commodity. Now he can just show up on shows now, like, come on, Trump. So you can say
they say he's going for his own network.
Possibly, it will happen. Possibly eventually, because they're turning against Fox now as well, because Fox keeps reporting the truth, so they don't like that.
See, here's the thing about the network business. You saw what happened to Bill when he tried to get one, didn't you? Right. I don't think that's a battle. 45 want to fight, because
listen. First of all,
the NFL done kept him out.
Wait, hold on. Remember this. When Bill tried to go for the network, they knew the power of influence that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And like they said about Malcolm X, that's too much power for a black man.
Right. It's way too much power.
They did not say that about Oprah Winfrey.
Right. Because she's a woman. That's the way they viewed it.
They're not afraid of Oprah Winfrey. Exactly. Right. And they will not say that about Donald Trump.
I think they'll say it only because I look at the NFL.
You don't think they're scared of Trump?
Say it again.
You don't think they're scared of Trump?
The networks?
I think they are.
You think you think the television networks are afraid of Donald Trump?
Owning? Yeah, I think they are owning.
Yeah. He'll take Sean Hannity. No. Fox is the #1 news network. He'll take half their staff, and people will follow him. Trump has been great for ratings. CNN as well.
Yeah, but Fox as a network doesn't have the power to prevent Trump from coming in.
So you don't think they're scared of Trump because you don't think they see him as a legit threat?
No. Again, I'm going back to, you have to recognize what the message is about Donald Trump. The message from the left is that he's destroying America.
Right.
The message from the right is don't blame him for what these people are doing.
Right. I got you.
You understand?
Right.
So if you have 75 million people who know his character, know who he is, but still vote for him. Right.
That's true too. Rhetoric and Trump is cool.
Yeah, I'm saying who's going to say they're saying we don't want Trump as president. Please understand, the Republican Party is not saying we don't want him as president. The Republican Party, most of them are saying don't impeach him because you're going to create more division.
Right.
Just let it go away quietly. They want him to go away quietly because they know that he's not going away.
Right.
He'll never be quiet again.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you say like the impeaching would keep him out of 2024 and allow the Republican Party to put, get their ducks back in order and put who they plan on putting up there.
That's what they should do. They don't like him either.
Yeah, but
I don't think
about this with the Republican Party.
Right.
As jacked up as things are for the Republican Party, where did they go from here? Where did they go in the next 4 years?
Right.
Who is their candidate?
Right.
Mitt Romney.
No, they don't. Moderate Mitt. They don't like moderate Mitt.
He won the party.
Oh, what's my man? Who was the one? I keep forgetting his name. The one that did the protest for the Electoral College, the main one. They keep talking. He lost the book deal. What's his name?
Was it Hawley?
Yes, I feel like he is like Trump.
The young guy. He's too young, man.
I feel like
he's not intelligent.
He ain't ready.
So they better go get Colin Powell or Condoleezza Rice.
Right.
But I think the problem with the Republican Party though is that now they've got to do complete reframing and rebranding because you can't you already sold out to Trump. You can't now run back and try to claim his base. Right. And now, even if he doesn't run, he's still going to be the most powerful person in their room because if he's got 70 million, they say the person who got the most votes in American history, Joe Biden, second, Donald Trump in a losing effort, right? So he's going to be able to sway people to go to the candidate of his choice, right? Even if he can't run. So it doesn't matter. They've got to court him to some extent. The problem that I see though is, and I just want to be real because y'all know I'm going to talk about racism. It's going to come. The thing about it is, I feel like America's currency is racism. And for the longest time, what the Republican Party was trying to do was be racist, but be sanitized racist, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's not that we don't want Mexicans here. It's that you need to do it the right way. It's not that we don't want black people protesting in the streets. It's that you need to protest the right way. Yeah, Donald Trump was like, no, you can go do what you want to do. Basically, he empowered all of the fringe elements of the party who really were motivating factors anyway. But he empowered them to now have a voice. So now it's like they complain about Democrats moving further to the left, but the Republican Party now is in a position where they're going to be forced to move further to the right. Because Donald Trump is going to say, well, if you really were a man or if you really were about your principles, this is what you would do. And I think the only thing that is really stopping them is now because of the insurrection, they've got to make a gamble as to which way they want to go with this. Because you can't be the party waving American flags and all of that stuff, claiming to have a monopoly on patriotism, but you got people running up in the Capitol. You can't do that. So they have to separate from the Capitol, from the rioters at the Capitol, right? But the rioters at the Capitol make up some of that 70 million that's supporting Trump. So are you going to lose the people that you need who are your base? And then to go back to Ephraim's question, one of the reasons why the Republican Party isn't going to go back and change everything is because those 70 million people pay dues as well. So they pay dues to that Republican Party. They're part of that party. And you telling 70 million people, we don't need your money no more? It's not going to happen. Right. So I think Donald Trump still ends up being the most powerful person on that side of the aisle. I think they're going to do everything they can in their wisdom and political power to try to make his voice as marginalized as possible. But I don't think that you can go back and put that monster in.
How y'all feel about the surprise pick with Don Jr.?
Wait, hold on. All right, hold on. Before you continue speaking the pick tonight. You need to pick.
Don't do me like that. Don't segue.
Solomon Temple Christian Ministries at 7:30. Hold on, guys. We'll be right back. And we're back. so like, April, what did you asking? You said a surprise picking Don Jr.
Yeah. Man, don't see it coming. He already in there. He's literally Trump Jr.
I don't know.
Because you don't have to know politics anymore. You don't have to know it. Yeah, unless he gets charges. But you don't have to know anything anymore. You just have to be Trump's guy. To Jay's point, whoever he picks is going to be anointed the guy.
You know, the only thing that's going to counteract this impact of Trumpism, and I hate to say it, but it's going to have to be a new Bush that comes out, man. It's got to be a new Bush. It's somebody that people like, you know.
Right.
That's the only way they're going to go back to where they were. I just think it's
the attention.
Yeah, it's over for them as far as how it used to be. And I think this is a good opportunity for, you know, now we've got this new composition of Congress. So this is a good opportunity for the Democrats to try to enact all the things that they've been trying to get done and couldn't get done. So now the pendulum shifts. If stuff doesn't get done now, then the issue is, why couldn't the Democratic Party win over the 10% votes that they need in order to get things done when you've got the White House, you've got Congress, you've got what you need, right? And I think now we're going to get to see a real version of what the Democratic Party is all about, because historically, whenever the Democratic Party comes into power, there's infighting. And when infighting happens, nothing gets done. So people who are marginalized in the community still feel marginalized when it's all over, because you don't get anything done. Yeah. So I hope they're ready. I hope they're ready to strike.
They're already calling Biden a racist.
What he did? How you racist?
The right is calling him a racist because he's leading. His narrative is, I'm going to focus on minorities. I'm going to focus on women-owned businesses. I'm going to focus on the African Americans. I'm going to focus on the disenfranchised. And so what they're saying is, so you're saying that all of your attention is going to go to people based on the color of their skin?
Okay. Well,
it's kind of like we'll take it. It's kind of like a flip in a sense. Like he's kind of doing what
should be done.
Donald Trump focused on Middle America. You know, he focused on those that had kind of been ignored for such a long time. You know, on the narrative. Well, I'm just the narratives. You know, about the things he said has brought them out. You know, and they focus like, that's my man right there. That's my man. He's speaking my language.
No, that was manipulation though. He made them feel like
I know,
like
but that's
special.
He
treated them like a cheap trick.
Right.
He made them feel special.
Who was the trick? The black community?
No,
America.
Middle America. So I feel like, you know, Biden is flipped the script. He's going to focus on those that have been ignored in the polls for so long or not talked about enough. You know, so I think that's his goal.
I'll put it like this.
You know, actions will come with that as well.
Here's the way I see it. I voted for, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be 100% honest. The primary reason I voted for President Obama the first time was because he was black. I was like, look, we got somebody in office who I was like, he seems kind of presidential. I didn't really need to see that much about him. I didn't need to. I was like, he seemed presidential. He's not dumb. I was like, he's intellectual. I was like, he's poised. I'm voting for him.
Right.
And then I was normally a Republican back then. And what I said was, man, he ain't do nothing for black people. I was like, the gay community got treated better than us. So I was like, I ain't voting for him next time. I wasn't getting into the weeds of what really was. And then I finally had a conversation, and the result of the conversation was, you do realize that every bill that he introduced got fought and kicked around and was like a redhead. He was like, and it was like, you do realize that even though he was president, he only had Congress and he didn't have the Senate. I was like, you make a good point. Right. So I think this year, I mean, not that I'm gonna say this first, because some of you will be like, oh, look, my trust is in the Lord. Look, my trust is in the Lord.
When they trust the Lord, something big coming.
I was going to say, however, Democrats have the ability to make America love or hate them in these next years.
Absolutely.
Because actions do speak louder than words. So there's some people on the other side of the aisle that may play ball just a little bit friendlier in the future because of what happens over the next 4 years. there may be some people who create partnerships that aren't just for show and tell and the smoking and the pony and dog shows, dog and pony shows. That has a real opportunity to happen because America's in a hurt and broken place right now. Right. Like there's some of us who used to be Republicans like me. I'm not a Democrat now, but I'm definitely not a Republican either. Who started to look at life and like, wait a minute, y'all been fooling me for the last 12 years. I've been supporting y'all. Right. And it's easy to do because being a black man in a multicultural neighborhood serving in the military, there's a lot of life you don't see that the rest of America lives every day. Right. Things didn't apply to me. And so because they didn't apply to me, I assumed that my skin color was immune to some of the things that people were saying was happening. I don't know how I didn't see it, but I didn't see it. Okay. But now the reality is the Democratic Party has an opportunity to change the narrative.
Yep.
Let me be clear about Biden though. Like, remember that of all the candidates that ran in the Democratic primary, Biden was the centrist, right? He's not there. The right is trying to paint him into being something that he isn't. Not, right. Either being way too left, or other people saying that he's racist. From our community saying he's racist. Everybody's trying to paint him into something he's not. He's always been in the center. He's center. And that's a large part of why he won. He was able to put together these coalitions. But unlike other administrations, Biden owes us, right? Like we saved his campaign. And I think he's cognizant of that. Right. If it were not for black people coming out in Philadelphia, Detroit, Atlanta, he wouldn't be there. Right. So I think because of that, he wants to make sure that he is, one, honoring that. And you see some of that with the composition of his appointments. He wants to make sure that he's honoring that. And he also has this burden of having to restore faith in the American government, right? So what you hear him say in his conferences are, when he appoints the Justice Department officials, this is not my Justice Department. It is the country's Justice Department.
Yeah, you got to change that up.
Yeah, he's got to rebuild trust in the system with people who are already saying he stole an election, right? Yeah. So you've got that, but we also see, I'm going to counter Dwayne's point a little bit. Right. So on one hand, on the surface level, it looks like America is broken, right? But on the other hand, what I'm seeing is the voter suppression that Georgia used to have. Stacey Abrams done stomped that thing out, right? So now we start the people who've been marginalized this whole time in America are starting to have their voices heard. And that's scaring people, right? Yeah. Because we know all the games that they played to try to keep our voices silenced. Right. So at this point, there's more people coming to the table who don't look like the traditional political candidate. And they have to start catering to those communities in order to maintain the vote, right? So that's why I say these next 4 years are crucial. Really, the next 2 years are crucial, because what are you going to do in your first 100 days to reward essentially the people who put you in office and who have been coming to you with all of these concerns for our community particularly? What are you going to do?
So I'm
real quick before you do that, AD, I like to shout out HBCs all over the place. We got Howard, Vice President.
Yes, sir.
We got Spelman that created and registered 75,000 voters after the election. And then we got Morehouse as the first black senator from Georgia. Yes, shout out to HBCs all over the bit.
Yeah, please let us get paid.
So Halcino
she's still black, Halcino. Well, she's half Indian. She's black and Indian.
Hold on. So he is racist if center is code for racist. So let me throw this out there. So my topic was, can you separate policy from politician or party, right? So let's just say he racist. He not voting. He not allowing anybody of us coming to the barbecue. He will be against any of us dating or marrying into his family. He keeps us, at a distance. I have 3 black friends. What do you mean? I have 3 black friends. That level kind of dude. But he enacts policy that helps our community. He does things that pushes us forward and not holds us back. Yet he may feel these things in his whole personal. Does that matter?
It matters because I feel at some point it's going to slip into his policy. But once again, if you only got a choice, then go with him, because there's racist and then there's like extremely dangerous racists. All right. So let's say Trump, let's say Joe won't let me date his daughter, but he'll break me off opportunity to be the CEO. They got to have 30% of American CEOs got to be black. All right. So thanks, Joe. I'll take it. But Trump not going to let me date his daughter either. And he's going to send some people to my house. And he's going to incite riots and keep my voice down. They're both racist. For example, I'm not saying they are, but let's say they're both racist. I'm going to have to go with the lesser evil in that situation. All right. So like, yeah, I feel eventually, yes, your beliefs will creep into your policy. But at this point, we talking about extremes. I'm just trying to raise my kids and get my daughters off to college. And if Joe say I can get college for free, well, I got like 8 years to make that happen. So let's go with that racist. You know what I mean? So like we you know, you got to vote your interest, I'm assuming. But
I'll just say this. It's just look at it this way. Both of them, I said this, and you can go back in my page, read my comments. I said morally, they both are piss poor. That was my exact wordage. That was the verbiage I used. Donald Trump and Joe Biden both are piss poor morally. And I think I might have called them morally bankrupt too. Those are my words. However, here's the difference. You get one president who
we already addressed that, Alcino.
Who utters something.
Go back.
We get one president. We get the president or one candidate who it's not direct, but it's a little more direct than indirect. So it's somewhere in the middle. But he doesn't come out and say, "Go do this," and 1,500 people go tear up the Capitol. Just off of what's the word? It's not a mention, a mere suggestion, maybe. That's the type of imagine if he would have said, "This is outrage. I'm outraged. We need to go to the Capitol and stop this right now." How many Trump supporters do you think really would have been in DC that day? You think President Joe Biden has that type of power with his support base? So when you talk about the two, this is where I say the difference is. One is a whole lot more influential with his support base than the other is. Right. And that one being Trump. So Trump is the more dangerous person of the two. I don't care about politics. At this point, politics are they're a 1B or maybe even a 2. It's like, what can you actually do with your words, which is the 1A in this election for me. And Trump has shown time and time again that he doesn't care about the nation as a whole. He cares about securing the bag, so to speak, for himself, and he's going to play to his support as often as it takes.
But Dick, I push back on you a little bit with that though. So Trump's does have influence, but Biden has influence because he got his people to come out to vote. See, like I'm saying, it looks like Trump has more influence because he has more extremists.
But which one causes more danger is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about
one gave him the most powerful position in the world. Joe's number one man.
But see, when I talk about the influence, I'm not talking about the political influence. I'm talking about the influence to tear this country apart at the seams.
He got that. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm talking about the ones who will look you in your face, spit in your face, and call you nigger support. That's the support. Excuse my language. I'm just being raw for a second. That's the support I'm talking about. The ones who won't think twice about burning your house down, shooting your church up. Yeah. That support. The ones that won't.
He got the crazy.
Think twice about putting cuffs on you and then shooting you while you're in cuffs with a badge on. Yeah. The ones that I'm talking about.
So
he got them.
All right. I dig that. Pastor, like you share something, and then Jay, you can jump in there as well.
I was just listening. Y'all was making me nervous. I was silently praying. No, but really though, Jay, you said something probably 10 minutes ago. I couldn't get in. What you said about Biden is true, but what you said about Biden also means that on day one, he's starting out day one in debt to Black America.
Yeah.
And so how can you be effective if on day one we're already screaming reparations for getting you in there? Right? How can it be fair and balanced if he's going in debt? Right? So the question will be, who does he owe? He owes America. And if we're going to be honest, we have to say, let's even the playing field. I'll say what we've been saying. We don't need any favors. We just need fair and balanced opportunity.
Right.
But you have to remember this. Joe Biden was not the influence that got him elected. Right? Mm-hmm. Joe Biden wasn't here in Georgia. Joe Biden didn't get himself elected in Georgia. Someone else got him elected in Georgia.
Absolutely.
Right. So I don't believe that it was the influence of Joe Biden that got him elected. I just don't. How many people in America who look like us will say he would not have been my first choice? To Dwayne's point.
Right. Thank you. Let's start clearing that up. Yeah.
So it's definitely not his influence that won me over.
Right.
And to Dwayne's point, it is because I don't want who's sitting in the seat currently. Right. And we don't have any other options. But what we can't do is put him in trouble the way Barack Obama was in trouble.
Right.
Because so many people said he didn't do anything for Black America. Yes, he did. He showed us what was possible.
Right.
That's what he did. Dwayne, you said I didn't know anything about him. You missed him at the DNC. He was the featured speaker. And when he spoke the first time we ever heard his name, he opened his mouth and said something. And what he said resonated with everybody.
Right.
When he walked off that platform, everybody was saying, that's the future president.
Right.
Not Black people, everybody said it.
Right.
So he had an impact. And then behind that, remember this, the Republican Party right now is exactly where the Democratic Party was after 8 years of Obama. They did not have a leader. They did not prepare. One of the greatest challenges that we have in America as a people is we don't know how to prepare for the next generation.
Right.
That's the mistake.
Right.
We weren't ready for Obama to leave office. People were asking, is it possible to change the laws and get a third term?
Right.
I mean, that's what we would rather do than prepare the next generation, the next leader.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We're always playing catch up.
Right.
Always.
Yes,
we have to get out of the mindset of playing catch up. Think about I don't want to get off track here, but think about your emotional mindset, right? Think about your business, Jay. When you went to school, right? You had the end in mind, but you had to count up the cost. It's going to cost us something to get this done. The way that our success works, when you create or you want to be successful in something, there's two creations that happen. Anything that we do in this world, it gets created twice.
Right.
Everything we do gets created twice. What do I mean? It's created in your mind, mentally, then it's manifested physically.
Right.
You create it in your mind, then you create it physically. It has to be done twice. If Joe Biden comes in playing catch up, comes in feeling like he owes Black America, there's no room for creativity.
Right. True.
Yeah.
So okay. I respect everything that you just said. So I want to go back and make a couple different counterpoints.
But
so the first thing is I want to congratulate Halcino and everybody who is commenting because I'm very curious as to when we didn't have a racist president.
Right.
Obama must have made y'all forget. Like most of the presidents we've had were racist. Some were outright slave owners, right?
Like legit.
So I think what we have to understand is to run for president in this country, isn't something that the average person is able to do. You have to amass a certain amount of wealth, a certain amount of political capital. And unfortunately, you need white support, right? you just have to have it, right? So that's the first point. The second point is, I think that you may not necessarily be able to measure someone from looking at them as to their degree of racism, but you can look at their body of work. And I think when you're looking at people who have put in the work, you can't tell me Joe Biden hasn't put in work, right? He has done everything. Now, did he do some things that were detrimental? Absolutely.
Right.
I don't know that in the 2020 lens, can I say what he did in 1994 was detrimental? Sure. But in the 1994 lens, Joe Biden wasn't the only person pushing that crime bill. Black people were calling him every week trying to get that crime bill together.
Right.
So
say it again.
I can't just put that on Joe. I have to put that on all of us in our lack of understanding and what that crime bill would do.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I also know Joe Biden did the Violence Against Women's Act. And if you've ever worked with anybody who's dealing with domestic violence, they are appreciative for that act because it gave a lot of power. So I think you got to take the good with the bad in politics. That aside, the reason why I emphasize kind of the black electorate and their support of Joe, I don't think any black person came out at the beginning of the Democratic primary and was like, Joe Biden, that's our guy. I don't think so. I think we all were divided, and he's the guy who won the ticket, right?
Right.
We weren't voting for Joe. I agree. We were voting against Trump, and this was the guy who was running against Trump. However, we could have stayed home. Right? Yeah. We could have stayed home. We could have said, no, you know what? We don't have a dog in this fight. Y'all both racist. We could have stayed home. We didn't. We came out, we mobilized, Stacey Abrams put in the work. And there's a reason for that. The reason is because the people who are involved in politics and who have worked with Joe Biden in the past know that regardless of whether he's racist or not, he has always done stuff that put people in charge, to put advisors around him who look like us, who are going to keep it real with him about what he needs to do. Now, whether he does it, that's on him. Right. But the thing about it is, a president is only as good as his advisors. How many of us was advising Trump? How many people? How many of us was with Stephen Miller and them in the room?
I called, but he didn't pick up.
Right. So my whole thing is, they show you who they care about based on the collective of advisors. Yeah. What I've seen from Joe Biden in this week alone is he's put Native Americans on the team. Absolutely. He put Latinos on the team. Women. He put white people on the team. He put women on the team. He put black people on the team. So it already tells me that his mindset is coalition building. I'm trying to get a spectrum of everybody. Does that mean that I'm going to do the things that black people want me to do? Right. It doesn't. Not necessarily. But does it mean that somebody black will be in the room saying, Joe, I think you need to do X, Y, and Z and keep it real? Absolutely. And I think that's all you can really ask for. At the end of the day, like, I can't put Joe Biden in the shoes of a black man and say, well, we need this. Are we going to get reparations under Joe Biden? I seriously doubt it. But at the same time, can he make things better so that our election process runs smoother and that our voice gets heard better? Absolutely. Can he make it so that the groundwork is laid so that we can get better employment opportunities, better access to capital? Absolutely. Right. So I think that's the thing. We have to redefine kind of how we do things. And the last thing I'll say is, I think what Halcino's point, I get his frustration.
Halcino going off.
I get Halcino's
frustration. You can type that fast on Periscope.
I get Halcino's frustration, because the frustration is, if you work hard and you're a minority in this country, you just want an even playing field, and it seems like we always have to build coalition to get an even playing field. That's the struggle of being 13% as opposed to being 60%, right? So you have to build the coalition in America to make it get done if you need government to do it. Now, if you got independent wealth and you can do it yourself, go be P. Diddy.
All group economics.
Yeah, but we have to.
And to address Halcino, bro, look.
Talk to him, dude.
No, like I agree with a lot of things you're saying, but what I also think is you're making points like we agree with the alternative. And that's not true. Let me ask you this. You said our vice president put black men in jail. You name me one DA that don't put black men in jail.
Every day.
That's their job, to put people in jail. Now, if you want to argue that point, argue the lawmakers who made the laws that
but you can't argue that point, because
I know, I understand that, Pat.
I want to say something that you're saying. I want to support where you're going, and that is the DA prosecutes who gets arrested.
Right.
It's numbers.
Right.
So,
The DA is not on the street putting people in handcuffs.
Right.
Your problem is the police.
Job.
Right.
Right. So that and so to your point, this is why, you know, Halcino is one of the type. I love his heart. I love his passion, but your paradigm has to change.
Right.
Halcino.
Right.
You got to change the way you see things, because if we're going to effect change, we have to participate. We have to engage in the change. Yeah. We can't sit idly by and shout from the back, crucify him.
Yeah, we'll be on this platform all day doing that.
Right. We have got to figure out how to become a part of the solution. And the one thing, if you haven't learned anything about this election season, because there has been a lot of education in this election season, because we've been trying to get rid of the issues that we have. And that is that you cannot depend on the person in the White House.
Right.
Absolutely.
To affect you in your house. You've got to deal, as Jay was talking about, you have to have a local coalition. You have to deal with your community. You've got to do what the Bible says. You got to work on your section of the wall.
Right. There you go.
That's why I say it wasn't Joe Biden's influence. It was Stacey Abrams working on her section of the wall.
Right.
And so anytime when anybody phone was blowing up about getting text message about voting, getting out and voting and all of that, right? How many of you all got those text messages? Have you voted yet? Have you? Right. And the minute you said yes, I voted, what was the very next thing they asked you? Have you encouraged anyone else to vote?
Right. Yes.
Immediately after finding out that you voted, have you encouraged anyone else to vote? And that's where we have to be on our level.
So hold on. Before you ask him, I'm gonna say when he said that, if you're not black, we addressed that and we didn't like it. And like we said again and again, listen, this isn't Roland Martin. Joe's feet's gonna be held to the fire for everything he does from now next 4 years. We talk about all kinds of things, but the fact is he is in this position. We're talking about this is prayerful, positive positioning conversation that he's put people in office that will make some kind of change. We will see, but talking backwards is not going to help us. That's why we talk forward here. We can sit here all day and complain about everything, but my goal with these conversations are to have the conversations that a lot of people aren't having so that we can push some things forward. All right, go ahead.
I'm just curious. It's a personal question, but Halcino tell me who he voted for. He got me curious now.
All right. Well,
if you don't mind, drop that in there for Hami. I'm just
no. How about we just ask, did he vote? I don't care who he voted for.
I think that's what happened. I don't know. I don't think he did.
We'll be right back. We're gonna be right back while he just figures that one. All right, so if you don't know, tonight at 8:30 will be the Sisters of Legacy. They're about to have an amazing conversation about a lot of topics that will be non-political, but about life. So definitely check it out. We'll be sharing in the space.
It's easy. All you have to do is get on for Bible study, and it comes on right after.
Right after, there you go. But so I don't really want to turn this to the Halcino show, but I know Halcino's been shooting out a lot of comments on my podcast. You haven't seen it, so we're
gonna take his Twitter away.
You guys.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a simple question?
He said he did not vote. He did not vote. Go ahead.
Okay.
I knew you didn't.
So I feel what he's saying. However, this is my suggestion, or this is my conundrum, right? You got to drive from DC to Florida. You got two options for a mechanic. You got to use one of them, or your car gonna sit still. You got one that got a reputation of making stuff look like it run and go, but overcharge the crap out of you. And you got one that's a drunk that cheat people, but the car at least runs. Now they both crooks. Neither one of them is worth arguing over. However, you still got to get to point B. So do you not go to a mechanic and try to do it yourself? Do you go to a mechanic, get it fixed? Or do you choose which mechanic works best for you in the situation? Look, nobody's saying that Trump or Biden is the answer. Nobody's saying that there was a best choice or there wasn't better choices. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying we don't understand that the system is set up to keep us bamboozled, hoodwinked, and everything else you might want to say. The problem is you have a situation that regardless of whether you do something or not, it's going to affect where you live and how you live.
Let me insert something real quick. Alcina, we love you, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Yes, indeed.
You're welcome here every single day.
Oh, that's my boy for real.
Your passion is real, and we appreciate it.
Yes,
but
indeed.
if you notice, you're the only person commenting now.
Right.
And we have come completely away from what we were talking about, and now we're only responding to you.
Yes.
Which means we will lose everybody.
Right.
That's
my point.
This is the definition of distraction.
Because each one of us was trying to make our point, but you just and
we love you. We welcome your comments, but I'm about ready. This is my formal rebuke of Alcina. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
No, I got a suggestion. Let's have him on for a freestyle Friday.
Let's do that. Let's bring him on. Bring him on. Anything but this right here.
Yes.
Right?
We'll have him on. He gets to say what he needs. Yes, we went. So you're right, Sam. We went right down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep everybody, but unfortunately, with everybody comment, you constantly see it. And listen, and like Pastor said, we do appreciate you. You come on,
in love.
You share,
love,
right? And when you first came on, I was like, "Is this troll?" But he was actually, he said, "Slow down, Goodson." He's but it's
this is what men do. This is our conversation. This is what we do.
This is what we do. Yeah, this is what we do. This is what we do.
We appreciate you.
Happens. You got a bunch of fiery brothers out here. This is what we do. However, there's a limit. We went past it 5 minutes ago.
Yes, indeed. So we're gonna get out of here because we are overtime. So
let me say one thing, because my cousin put something out there. She was talking about.
Yeah, you know what she said?
Mimosa Bliss.
She was saying some great stuff.
She asked a question. She asked, what did she ask? It was about weapons.
Yes. She said, "Yo, cuz thinking further on mindset, our people are not running out and buying guns for what's coming. Should we be getting prepared?"
And the reality is, right now, there is a threat on all 50 state capitals right now.
Right.
Now, when you tell me there's a threat on all 50 state capitals, I say, I'll be at home. I won't be at the state capitol.
Right.
However, I never lose sight of the fact that there are wannabes out there who will try to stir up trouble at the Walmart, at the Publix, at the Kroger, at the Dollar Tree. There are people out there that at church that will try to bait you, and they'll have a group of people on standby around the corner. So my point is, this is not the time for public arguments. This is not the time for calling out Karen at Starbucks. This is not that season. This is not that season. I don't have to go out and buy guns because I already own guns. But here's the thing. What people have to remember, this is and the reality is, You can go buy a gun, but what good is a gun without ammunition?
Right.
I heard Jay say that the currency of America is racism. Well, guess what? If a civil war breaks out, the only currency that's going to work in America is ammunition.
Right.
And if you don't, and at some point you're going to run out of bullets. If you don't have enough bullets, please hold your peace, stay in your house and hunker down. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to scare anybody or anything like that. But when you ask a question like that, and I appreciate the question, fam, we have to consider that the best thing for us is to cover our homes. That's what we have to do, because they're talking about acting crazy at the state capitol.
Right. Can I give you some perspective on what you just said real quick?
Yes,
you said if something pops off, ammunition is going to be the currency. Well, as a former military friend, guy, and having several friends who love to shoot and buy new guns, a lot of friends that don't look like me know how to make bullets. You know, they used to police up the brass after we shoot 1,500 rounds and take them back home and have 1,500 new bullets when they got back. So, and look, if you don't know how to create your own stuff, might be a nice time to learn. Just saying.
All right, gentlemen. So we appreciate you guys, Jay and Ephraim. Yes,
prayer works.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Any closing remarks? My two family guests.
If you don't change, you always stay the same.
Right.
That's all I got.
My only remark, I just want to echo everything that Pastor and Dwayne have said. I feel like we're at a position at this point where a lot of changes, a lot of dynamic changes are happening in our country, but it's nothing to be afraid of. This is essentially what we have always been waiting for, an opportunity to be at the table and have our voices heard and to be respected. So step into it with glory, continue to give all honor and praise to whoever it is that you worship, in my case, Jesus. And I can neither confirm nor deny gun ownership, but I'll just say if somebody growing up in this house, you know, we know what's gonna happen, right? So
you're gonna introduce them to Jesus. You're gonna arrange the meeting.
You're gonna arrange the meeting, right?
So, anyways, y'all take care of yourself, and keep watching the news, keep making the memes. Tag me on these memes because they're hilarious.
Yes, indeed.
They're going hard.
All right, my peoples. I appreciate you guys again. As always, we love you, but God loves you more. Stay safe. Continue to wear your mask. And just stay out of trouble. And just be vigilant. Be aware of your surroundings. You know, we always talk about safety as men. If you got your family, you out. You know where the exit's at. Know how to get out of here if something goes down. Just be aware. Be aware. Don't. This is not a time to relax nor sleep. But be aware of what's going on. All right. All right, guys.
Can you do me a favor, AD? Can you do me a favor and put the link for Bible study in the comments?
Okay.
And in honor of Alcino, I'm not gonna wear my mask to the mailbox today. I'm going to the mailbox without wearing them, Alcino.
All right. You talking about for everybody else the link to get to Solomon's Temple?
Yeah, that's what my cousin was asking. She was asking.
Oh, okay. I didn't even look.
Put both of them. Put the link for Bible study in there and put the link in there for Sisters of Legacy.
Yeah, I'll reply to her. I'll take care of that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow.
I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another edition. Good morning, everybody.